So this is the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. And today we're having a conversation about tourism. But for me, my focus really is on domestic tourism because consistently we've talked about, yes, Ghana, we've talked about the year of return. Beyond the return, we've actually talked about destination Ghana. We've talked about how people should come into Ghana. Today we know that when it comes to Christmas, your destination is Ghana. The whole world is in Ghana for Christmas. But beyond that, locally, not long ago, the Ghana Tourism Authority launched, Experience Ghana. We were asking all of us to go to tourist sites, take a picture, tag them, and you're going to win wonderful, prizes for even doing just that. But the question is, how many of us take advantage and visit tourist sites locally? How many of us do so? Just yesterday, the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park has been opened to Ghanaians. And we've all talked about how beautiful it is. So we said, why not have a conversation? Yes, we'll talk about it, but also talk about tourism and particularly domestic tourism. How are we patronizing our sites domestically? How are Ghanaians visiting these sites? So I asked a very simple question. When was the last time you visited a tourist site in Ghana? And in-house here, some have struggled to say when the last time was. They don't remember. This morning we're joined by the Deputy Minister in charge of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Okraku Mantey. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Winston.
How's it going?
God's grace, we are fine.
Everything is going well at the ministry.
Yes.
And congratulations to you. The Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. The first time I went there was in the early 90s.
Early 90s.
And Kwame Nkrumah was at the time.
Okay.
Not this one.
Okay.
No. Kwame Nkrumah was at the time. At the time, we were, growing up when I went there. Yeah, I liked everything. I remember that was when I realized that Kwame Nkrumah was a co-president in Guinea. Because when you go there, all of these things are there. When he left in 1966, went to China. Everything about him you find there. You find his tomb and everything. Then subsequently, Fatia was also buried there. But we've done a great thing doing, renovating it and transforming it into a modern one. Yesterday you've opened it, so what should we expect now that you've opened it?
Yes, yesterday I was there myself for some hours. I saw some good numbers for a start. Relatively, I asked the executive director if it was better than before, because I didn't know the before numbers.
Okay.
So we compared, and it started very well. What we should expect is that we are going to maintain the place to be able to compete. For tourism, we speak like businesses because we believe that tourism is a marketing environment created to bring money into corporate houses. The idea is that if you say compete, it means that it is a place that instead of going to maybe a place in South Africa or Morocco, you would want to come to a Kwame Nkrumah Park as against some venue in South Africa. Or, because when I went to South Africa, I think I went to the home of President Nelson Mandela. So that is, Kwame Nkrumah's park is also like a competitor indirectly. And so we are saying that this is an option. This is a better option. Come to Kwame Nkrumah Park instead. So every element that we need to be able to compete, we are going to use. Marketing, heavy promotion, activities. That's why last Friday we did Samini and Kofi Kinata to attract people to know that it's no more the traditional solemn environment. Now you can have activities. We have a restaurant there. We have Kwame Nkrumah library. We have bookshop or gift shop and all of that. We're trying to create some activities between Mondays and Fridays. It could be arts gallery for particular days. It could be cultural activities, music, anything that film showing, anything that will attract you to come in addition, sort of addenda, in addition to what you know already.
Okay. Let me just welcome our listeners in Kumasi who are listening to us on Love 99.5 FM. And please note that later on the show would activate the phone line, so you'll be giving a chance to ask all the questions. But you could actually start by sending them on Twitter. Use the hashtag JoySMS. Yes, you've talked about this and you've talked about how you intend to maintain it, how you intend to manage it. But is it the same for all other tourist sites?
It is not.
Why is it not?
It is not because government does not have direct control over all tourist sites in Ghana. Some of them are owned by private people, and so we can only regulate, but we do not have a day-to-day operational control over some of the tourist sites. Before we started speaking on air, I mentioned like the Papaya Park, beautiful place, like the one you marketed, the one you promoted just before.
The Safari Valley.
Safari.
Yes. Eco Park.
Eco Park, yes. Beautiful place. I used to go there when it was not ready. The last time I went there, they asked me to pay, is it 600 or something, or 500?
Well,
I want to be sure.
You pay 250.
Is it 250?
Yes.
Something like that, yes.
If you're more than one, you don't have to pay more, yes.
So I said, I used to come here. He said, no. Now you pay before you enter. But it's beautiful place. I mean, the concept. But if today you go there and you are not happy, I'm sure the first person you think of is government. But all we can do is to regulate the do's and don'ts, the laws surrounding tourism. Apart from that, customer service and all of that, it is the managers who control that. And so, yes, we have control over some of the tourist sites. Some of them we do not have. So we can only talk about the ones that we have control over, and then regulate the ones that we do not have control.
Exactly. So let's look at the ones that you have control over.
Yeah.
These ones that you have control over, are they being treated? Are they being promoted just like you're doing to the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park?
I think that to some extent, yes, but we can do more. When we were going to launch the Kwame Nkrumah Park, my boss set up a committee and asked me to lead. And one of the things that I championed was the communication or the publicity on the Kwame Nkrumah Park. And so you will notice that if it's not the first time, it's about it's about the first time that government goes to commission a project, or president commissions a project, and on Twitter we're number one. It was deliberate. We worked on it. We pre-promoted president to commission. And on the D-Day, Hit FM transmitted live. GTV took it live. Twitter was busy. Social media was busy. All planned. The following day, thanks to City, Bernard Avila was there to have a show. TV3 was there to have a show. Adam on a Friday morning did their morning show from the Kwame Nkrumah Park. And all these elements play a role in making sure. And so the media, we thank you for your support. And so we are going to be deliberate about it this time. And our website, I'm working on it with the team. It's going to be very vibrant. Social media handles.
Which website?
The Ministry of Tourism, Art and Culture website. That will see to all our sites.
Okay.
Yes, because it's been relatively slow. If I compare it to some of the media houses and some of the corporate houses in Ghana, relatively we are slow. And let's accept these new media sort of are new to some of the public service environment. And so we must bring what we know from the private sector, we inject into what we know into the public service, and make sure that, like I told you, tourism is a marketing product. It is not a tangible product. And so my boss's background is actually media plus marketing.
Marketing, yes.
I have the same. Akwesi Ajiman, say media marketing. And so when it comes to marketing or publicity, I think we shouldn't fail Ghanaians.
And why you talk about not failing Ghanaians, I'm just curious. So yes, I know your website, but you say you're now going to, are you going to create another website, or you're going to add a tourist site? Same old one. But you think that a website hasn't
we even have Visit Ghana.
Yes,
the Visit Ghana app and all of that. But we think that we can do better than we are doing now. Because yes, and sometimes you need to prove a point in convincing leadership. I remember even the same business when I said we needed a department for social media. I remember my boss Kosuchum said, "Oh, let the workers do it." The same old workers. I had to prove a point in this same building that it can be done, and this is the way. So I had to start it my own way with my small. Before he accepted that, I'm seeing the results, so now let's form a team. So we are starting from somewhere.
But I'm surprised all this while, you're now proving a point that you need to do more when it comes to this.
New media is not in the DNA of public service. New media is not. I mean, at the same time, when I also came here and said that, look, we need to do this, even multimedia at the time also said they didn't believe in it at the time. So it takes time to be able to convince people to come on board with new things, especially. So yes, you can see that. We have websites. Most of the ministries have websites, but I'm sure that you can't compare the way we operate our websites as against private sector.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, you've talked. So I mean, you've talked about how you intend to go about it, but in there is a challenge that, look, yes, there are people who will go to privately managed places and probably say you are to be blamed, but there are people who are also going to go to other places. Your responsibility is to ensure that, look, you regulate and regulate well. Your response sometimes also is to ensure that these facilities, some of which could actually come under your management.
Yeah.
So how are you doing that?
We have given most of our places good leadership now. Like you go to the museum, National Museum. At the moment, the management is good. People do not complain about our National Museum now. It's renovated, fine place, washroom clean, environment, tour guide on point, and all of that. And so, just like any other management form, we are using good corporate governance to make sure that all these sites are also well managed. I do not think that governance in a private sector environment is different from governance in public service. They only have little, but governance everywhere, whether public, whether it's states, whether governance is governance. Management is management. Management is about the same planning and organizing and staffing and budgeting, all of that. Same, every place you go, that even home, the governance at home is almost the same as governance corporate. You just must understand the concept of governance, and it's almost the same.
Great. So are you happy with let me just find out from you, are you happy with the domestic tourism numbers? Are you happy with
Yes. I think that COVID taught us a lesson. I was trying to look out for the numbers on my phone, so I am precise. But
share those numbers with me.
Yes, the particular one cannot open. So let me just share. Okay, I have a rough idea of 2022.
Okay.
Top 10 provisional tourist attraction sites. Mm-hmm. So first one is Ibri Botanical Gardens. Residents, we have 154,860.
Visits,
yes.
Okay.
Non-resident, we have 31,249. So resident plus non-resident, we got 186,109. And so it looks like even the residents are higher.
That's Ghanaians.
Yes, Ghanaians.
Yeah, so we'll focus more on that. And then so that's Ibri.
Then we come to Kakum. Mm-hmm. Kakum National Park, 113,769, 113,769. This is for resident. Mm-hmm. The non-resident, we have 22,487, making total of 136,256. Third, Kumasi Zoo.
Okay.
Again, you see Kumasi Zoo is a tourist site for government.
Yes.
But not directly under the Ministry of Tourism.
It's under which ministry?
Forestry.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but if you should go there now and you have challenges, I'm sure the first people you think of is Ministry of Tourism. Mm-hmm. Until I even went to work with the ministry, I also thought it was for tourism. Just like the Children's Park. Mm-hmm. A lot of people talk to us, what are you doing to Children's Park? But it's an agenda, not us.
Okay.
Yeah. So Kumasi Zoo, we have 113,582 for residents. And non-resident, we have 1,102.
Okay.
So 1,102. Total 114,684. Cape Coast Castle. Popular Cape Coast Castle, 70,322 for residents.
But that's for you.
Yes, that's for us. Yes. Resident 70,322, and then non-resident 16,370. Total 86,692. Fifth is Elmina Castle under us, 58,091.
Okay.
For resident. Non-resident 14,000. That is a different one. Okay, even still, the resident is still higher.
Yes.
So I think the correlation is showing that domestic tourism is giving us more numbers than even.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, but let's look at one thing here, and I'm just going to do a bit of comparison here. I'm looking at your 2020 figures. I'm not going to compare with 2020 because I'm not going to I'll compare with, say, 2019, 2018, 2017, 2016. Okay. And you would see, for instance, that when it gets to a place, I mean, we're doing well.
Okay.
When you look at, for instance, the Cape Coast Castle, in 2019, 88,000. Today, we're doing badly. It comes to 70,000. When you go to a place like Kakum, Kakum in 2019 was 126,000. It goes to 113,000. There's a reduction there.
Okay.
But when it gets to the Ebri Gardens, that's a huge jump because in 2019, it didn't even show up in the top 10. But then in 2022, it's the highest of the 154,000. Have you, for instance, found out, places like Kakum and Cape Coast Castle and Elmina Castle, which were doing so well in the past, what's been happening to them?
Okay. For the obvious reason, road. Yeah.
Good. And that takes us to the main part of the conversation. Access to these tourist sites.
Yeah. Road.
What's the ministry doing about it? Because yes, we're pushing people to go to these tourist sites, but really, Honorable Okraku Mantey, in some of the tourist sites, I must be very honest with you, even Kakum today, the road is not that great.
No, you are old school. Kakum has been fixed.
If you go to Elmina, Elmina, I was just there this year.
Okay.
The road is not that bad.
Okay.
Going to Elmina.
Okay.
Of course, there's a huge traffic.
Yeah,
Cape Coast, not bad road. The road is good. You would get there. But there are other tourist sites where the roads are in a deplorable state.
Yes.
What's the ministry doing about it?
We acknowledge that some of the roads are not good to promote tourism. That is why President Akufo-Addo has set up the interministerial committee because yes, the tourism is everything. Sanitation affects tourism. Education. Almost everything. People travel from their country to another country to go and learn. They become tourists in that country. It can be a short course. So almost everything is tourism. Trade is tourism. People come to Ghana for business, but they come as business tourists. Religion is tourism. Religious tourism. That is where my favorite cathedral, National Cathedral, will come in. So almost
National Cathedral has stalled.
Yes. We'll come back, don't worry.
Really?
Yes, at the right time.
I was there the last time.
We'll come back at the right time.
I didn't see a single construction going on.
We'll come back at the right time.
At the right time?
At the right time.
Let's continue.
Yes. So you see that when I was at Hit FM, there was a show by Deborah Cox, an American performer. It came out of tourism. One tourist came to Ghana, saw Ghana, peaceful country. They love music, entertainment. Why don't I take advantage and promote a show in Ghana? When they came, they advertised on multimedia. So although he's a tourist, who came as a tourist, he came a second time as a business tourist. Later on, became an entrepreneur. And when he decided to spend here, Frank Kwachi made some money, PA system, Fantasy Dome made money, multimedia made money. Almost all the people in the chain, the value chain for performance, were paid. Just like Global Citizen came to Ghana. Look at the number of people who were paid, including our own Belamundi after MCing this year. She's the same person who MC'd Global Citizen in France.
In France, yeah.
Correct. It's out of tourism. So tourism is everywhere. So almost everybody has a stake in tourism. And so President has set up interministerial committee so that everybody would fix his or her part for us. And so the road minister is one of the members. And that is why he's fixed the Kakum Park Road. The year of roads considered tourist sites as part of the agenda. And so he started. That's why he's done the Kakum Park. It's ongoing. I met him 2 weeks ago. He was on his way to Ascend North. And he told me he was going to do more. So we can only wish for more. But we started. The vice president in his last meeting with me, Dr. Baumia, was asking us to consider other ways of transport, like boats, like helicopter, chopper, instead of just roads. So we are looking at all of that. So anytime GIPC is making a presentation in other parts of the world or even in Ghana, they consider some of these things that private sector can take advantage of.
Yeah. I'll get back to this, but this morning we're joined by Okraku Mantey, who is Deputy Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture. You have to be very particular about that. Tourism,
tourism, arts and culture.
Yes. If you're not careful, you add creative arts to it.
Yes, and you offend some people.
Okay. And we're having a conversation about tourism. We're looking at domestic tourism. That's more of our focus this morning here on the Super Morning Show. And later on the show, we'll activate the phone lines for you so you can also join us and so we can have a conversation. But, somewhere in 2017, 2018, the World Bank, gave us some facility to develop our tourism sites. I remember under Catherine Afeku's administration. What happened?
She started the World Bank Development or Ghana Tourism Development Project. It's under that project that the Kwame Nkrumah Park or Kwame Memorial Park has this facelift. We've done a lot. People think it's just Kwame Nkrumah. Bonwe Museum is almost ready. Bonwe Museum is in Bonwe to market, to use that to market Kente. Yasantua Museum is also ongoing. We gave about almost $20 million to the private sector. Yes, and so we supported Bisabrewa, we supported Menchia. A lot. I have the list on my phone. I can see somebody calling. Let me try and get you some of the names.
Okay.
Yes.
But while you get some of the names, the other important part of this conversation, you talked about maintenance.
Yes.
In the current. And I will get back to another aspect of the conversation, and that would be knowledge of these tourist sites. You're talking about. Let's start from there. You're talking about, using.
Oh, it's here.
Yeah, which one? The Bisabrewa. Bisabrewa is in Second D.
Yes.
Uncle
Kwao.
Yes. I've been there. I know.
Yes. That. So, tourist site is Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, amphitheaters, Kintampo and Wuli Waterfalls, Menchia Museum, consultancies on Cape Coast and Elmina Castles, Shai, Mole, Kakum National Parks. These are some of the areas we looked at.
Okay.
Yes, we supported Shekina in Sekwakope, Dance P. I don't know if you know Dance P. Dance Paradise in Cape Coast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we supported Dance Paradise in Cape Coast. Hansonic Hotel. We supported them. These are just a few that I have.
Good, but let's look at one thing. Now, do we know all the tourist sites?
We should know all the tourist sites, according to Ghana Tourism Authority. Unfortunately, every day, we are blessed with too many natural resources for tourism such that every day Ghana gives birth to a new one.
So we don't know all of them?
That's why I say that, we should know. But unfortunately, because every day somebody discovers a new place, it is difficult to say, yes, you know all of them. There's a new one I have seen at Obosmase called Adom Waterfalls.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here to go and see the place because the reason why I got to know was that people are complaining about their services. And that is why I've informed Ghana Tourism Authority, but I'll go there myself because that is the route I apply most of the time because of where I come from. Yeah.
So it means that there are places that are springing up all the time.
Yes.
Which is even difficult for you to regulate.
Yes.
Why should that be the case?
I think that it is the case because people decide that, yes, it is my property. the local, the chief and his people or her people have discovered something. Some of them do not even know that the fact that you've discovered it doesn't mean that you can operate without informing the authority. Because I always say that thanks to President Akufo-Addo, tourism is now a topic that people discuss. I hear years ago that particular ministry was called Ministry of Enjoyment. Leaders in the country didn't even take tourism seriously. Growing up, it was called excursion. They didn't even know it was called tourism until a few years ago. I noticed that excursion and tourism.
Oh yeah, but I mean, during the Kufu administration, that's when you had the Ministry of Tourism and Modernization of the capital city. A lot of emphasis was on it. Then started at the time the Kwewu paragliding and everything.
Yeah.
A lot of attention.
The time of Honorable Jake.
Yes, Jake
Yes.
took a lot of made a lot of inroads in there. But we are looking at our inability to know all our tourist sites.
Yes.
You have Ghana Tourism Authority has regional offices.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it's normal. I think it's natural. It's just like radio. Let me use radio station. Even in the developed countries, people still do pirate media. So, like EPA. Yes, we all know that before you build a house, you must have permits from EPA or local authorities. But every time you see the walls, they write on it, produce permit.
Yes.
Yes, because some people will decide that they don't do the right thing. It's our job to identify them and get the right thing done, or get them to regularize what they're doing. But to say that you won't have people who recalcitrant who will say they will not do, I'm not sure. In a human environment, I'm sure that's why Parliament is still relevant. That's why they're still passing the law.
But these are areas, for instance. So you have, regional tourism authorities. You have offices in the regions, Ghana Tourism Authority.
Yeah.
Now, you don't have offices in the districts.
We have.
You have offices in the districts.
Yes.
These districts, and Ghana is a decentralized country.
Yeah.
So whether you're practicing deconcentration, delegation, or devolution, is decentralization.
Yes.
So there are people there who are supposed to be monitoring and know the sites that spring up and then regulate them.
Yeah.
So
Yes, we still need some degree of education for our local governments. Because, was it yesterday or something? I heard something in the news. Okay, I'll recollect it. It was on judiciary. And it's to reinforce my conversation with the previous CJ. Is this, Madam, is this Sophia Akufu?
Sophia Akufu.
Yes, former CJ.
Yes.
We had gone to her to give us a special high court for the creative industry. And then she said, why would you want us to give you a special high court just for creativity or creative industry? And she advised that instead, we come and educate them on copyright issues, if that's our challenge, because they won't assume that they know everything as judges. And yesterday, I heard in the news that there was a conference that some people went to educate them on a particular area. Yes. So then I remembered the conversation she had with me, I think 2 or 3 years ago. We also need to educate our people in the local government environment, because we can't pretend they know everything, which we have not done. We need, the education shouldn't be once, it should be a process, because the environment keeps evolving, things keep changing. How people want, now they say it's not customer service, now it is customer satisfaction. There's an evolution there. And so we need to always educate our people. And so that is one of the jobs we need to do. So we won't fault them for not doing what they have to do. But again, I just want you to know that every day you will find somebody not doing the right thing. It doesn't mean that we're not doing our jobs well. Yeah.
Okay, great. But let's look at maintenance of these sites. In fact, when I said I was going to have this conversation, David Akwete of Love FM was we're having a conversation. He said, the last time I spoke to Mark, I was asking him about maintenance.
Yeah.
Yes, we're we've reconstructed it, we're talking about it, but how do we ensure that the standard that we have today is maintained?
I think that we'll use Kwame Nkrumah Park to show that example, because before we became ministers, we all knew the challenges with our tourist site, and we visit some of them and we know some of the challenges ourselves. We see them; they are virtually tangible, and so we are taking all the steps. Like I said, that management or the fundamentals of management are the same everywhere. You just must employ the right people to do the right things, and it should be fixed. It is just because maybe previously people didn't see it as one of the unique selling propositions of public places, and now we know that, especially how Ghanaians have shown their interest in the Kwame Nkrumah Park and the love you've shown us in the past 1 week, that, oh, you've done well. We know that you are going to put special binoculars on that one as well to make sure that we do the right things.
What happened to the city tour of Accra? I mean, that was launched by the Ghana Tourism Authority.
City tour of Accra.
Yes, you launched this bus.
Yeah.
Taking
the bus. Yes.
around Accra to be, looking at various sites.
It's working. Last Friday, it was parked at Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park.
Has it been done in other regions?
Come again?
Has it been replicated in other regions?
No. This is the pilot. Mm-hmm. Yes. So when we are able to prove with numbers that, just like any business does, prove to us that it is viable or feasible to do more in the other regions.
So far, has it proven viable?
I think so. I just don't have the numbers here, but I think so, because somebody saw the bus there on Friday and said, "Oh, is it possible to have this in my constituency so it can bring people from my constituency to Kwame Nkrumah Park?" I said, "No, it cannot go outside Accra. It is supposed to move people from one side to the other side within Accra." So it means that people are interested in moving inter regions. And so sometimes you pick some of these data and then you put them together and make a presentation to the bosses, and the decisions are taken.
So we're waiting for the data. We'll be monitoring.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that we talked about, we said we're going to use it to promote, domestic tourism. But let me just find out from you. I mean, because a lot of the time we're focused on, yes, I know that, the Ghana Tourism Authority has been doing, Experience Ghana and everything. But for many, it looks like our focus has been on, our brothers in the diaspora and the people from other parts of the world. Why does it look like we're neglecting domestic tourism?
We haven't. Thanks to Gatov, Tuga, the organizations that promote tourism or that sell tourism directly. They are like intermediaries between government and consumers of tourism. When COVID came in, we noticed that because of the airport challenges and international travels and all of that, we lost, and you could tell from the data, if I should give you the data, you notice that international went extremely low. And so, let me just give you a rough idea. 2019, 1.1 with the year of return, so it is about the highest we've seen. And then 2020, it dipped to 355,108. 2021, we started climbing again, 623,528. And then 2022, 914,892, which gives us hope that this year our target of 1.2 would happen, because halfway into the year, we've already exceeded our target for this half the year. And so if we should go into third quarter, fourth quarter, we know that that is our cocoa season. So definitely we'll be able to meet our target. So with this this data, you can tell that anytime we get anything that will affect flights, we're in trouble with international arrivals or international tourism. So President Akufo-Addo launched the domestic tourism agenda, which is Experience Ghana. Tuga, Gatov, the rest of them, the collection or the collective societies that promote tourism in Ghana, they've helped. And that is why the numbers that I mentioned earlier on, you could see that, yes, your 2017, 2018 looked better too, because at the time there was no COVID. We went down in 2019, 2020, and we are now ascending again.
Okay.
Yeah. And so domestic tourism is not that bad. Again, even if you compare it to the numbers you had in the 17 and 18, we're not too bad knowing where we've come from after COVID. Post-COVID, yes.
But post-COVID, we are rising again when it comes to international.
Yes.
International, we're doing well.
But even domestic too, we are rising.
We're rising, but
Yes.
Yes, we are rising.
You think we can do better?
We
I
can
agree.
do better than
I
what
agree.
we're doing.
I agree, but that is why you need to help us, media.
That's what we're talking about.
Yes, it's good. We are happy.
Great. But here's a question for you. He says, why are we not selling the capital city? When you arrive in Barcelona or any American state, you see memorabilia about the city or state in your face. I don't see anything about Accra or any of our cities when you visit. That's from a listener.
It's a good point. I have been on the case of Ghana Airport. Poladumoche will tell you that I've visited them several times, even gone for board meetings to join them to convince them that right from the airport, we want visibility. It's a conversation ongoing, but I'm sure they are listening, because at the airport, whilst you wait for your bags, we should sell Ghana to you.
Sure.
And now it's very easy to do with LED screens. At every 3 seconds, it flips, something else comes. Events during the week, places you can visit, what Ghana stands for, all of that. So I am happy somebody is bringing this topic up. It is not out of place, and we are working on it.
Another question is, isn't it about time we reoriented Ghanaians towards knowing the value of tourism? In Dubai, for instance, the whole country walks and talks tourism.
True. We are engaging the Ministry of Education, because I think customer service should not be taught at the university level. If you want tourism to become what we want it to be, customer service should start from class 3 or class 4. Yes. That is how, because Ghana, we are known for hospitality. Oh, Ghana, they pay nipa. But we do not know that that hospitality can be used to make money, can be used for business, instead of just painting our homes when we are getting visitors. But we must do that, put it in the DNA of the Ghanaian growing up. So by the time he begins to work for a corporate house, a restaurant, or a hotel, he knows that I must smile, and the smiling that I'm smiling, it is an agenda to take money. Maybe we can look at what USA does. I mean, USA tipping is allowed, it's legal. It's part of their restaurant, hotel culture. And so you tip the person. Next time you go, the person runs to you, because the person knows that you will tip anyway. So that's the motivation. But Ghana, we don't have that. We are looking at how we can bridge the two, the USA one and the Ghana one.
I mean, once you talked about education, someone sent me a message about, the Ghana Library Authority. The fact that today the children's library, you'd have to pay 500 cedis a year to access that public facility. This is not for you, but it said that, every child between 4 to 17 must pay 500 Ghana cedis to access that. And they asked a simple question: how can people who live around Nima, all these areas, pay 500 Ghana cedis a year to access, the public library? I don't know if you want to make a comment about that.
Some of these decisions are taken by Parliament. Even the Kwame Nkrumah Park, the price is relatively too low.
How much is too low?
5 cedis and 10 cedis.
Yes, it's affordable.
How do you maintain the place?
If we get more people, we can maintain it.
Okay, you want to talk economies of scale?
Yes.
Good, but what if you get too many people? The more you get the people to, the more deterioration.
How much would it cost us to maintain it? You may have done that analysis.
We are not done with that, but I think that 5 cedis against 10 cedis, the whole year, if you look at our highest number ever recorded, 10,000.
In a year?
Yes, by 5 cedis.
10,000 Ghana cedis.
No, 10,000
people visiting
times
Kwame Nkrumah in a year?
Yes.
Okay.
That is before now.
Before now, yes.
Yes. So we can only work with trends.
Yes.
So we can only work with previous highs. Yeah.
We'll come back and talk about that. We need to go for a quick break. Okay. But when we return, we're activating the phone lines.
Okay.
So that our listeners can also join us. If they have any questions, they can definitely ask those questions.
On air. Your morning radio.
So let's get onto the phone lines now. You can also join us 0302 216 541 and then 055 1111 997. Richard in Achimota, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, Richard.
Listen, a bit of a suggestion here
Sure.
to the minister.
Sure.
I think that most of the time our tourist attractions are not not developed. We don't have good sitting places. We don't have good urinals. We don't have good eating places. So these are very essential items we need at all our tourist sites, especially, let's say, the water bodies. If you have water bodies, no need going to the water, but you can create water sports in the area so that people come, pay money, and then enjoy the activities. There, you make more money. They eat, they have good food to eat, they have good sitting places, and every time they would want to go there. But we don't have these things in place. So when you go there, you don't even have good sitting places. So how do you expect people to go there?
Okay.
These are the things I think the government must look at. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Richard from Achimota. Kwesi is in Teshi. Kwesi, good morning.
Good morning, President.
Yes, Kwesi.
I just want to ask the minister. One of the things that impedes local tourism is the high cost of hotel rooms. It is so expensive. If you go outside Accra, a number of hotel rooms probably get about 400. It's too much. Is there anything that we are doing to help bring the cost down so that families can take vacation outside Accra or somewhere else in the country?
Okay. Let's go to Elvis at Macedonia Junction. Elvis, good morning.
Good morning. Is it Winston, right?
Yes, Winston.
I saw you recently at Amajofi.
Okay.
I was very happy.
How's it?
The grace is sufficient.
Great.
How did you see the attractions over there?
They're beautiful. Very, very beautiful.
I want the government to...
And I love the weather too.
This one you can testify for yourself.
Yes.
We have a very attractive attractions over there. Not one, not two. The ancient cemetery, a whole lot. So we urge Ghanaians to patronize their own. But the road issue as well, but you were there yourself, so you saw the road from Vane up. I think if the government comes inside, it will be quite better. The roads will be okay, and accessing will be easy.
Okay. Thank you.
The road network is what blocks everything.
Yes. We're talking about that earlier, but I would ask that specific question. Let's go to Sylvester at Lakeside. Sylvester, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, Sylvester.
Well, I would like to make a comment.
Please go ahead.
And it's about an important tourist site located at Abokobi. It's called the Freddy's Grave.
It's called?
Actually repaired and restored by the Danish embassy in the early 90s and handed over to the Ghanaian government.
You said it's called what?
Freddy's Grave. People call it the Abokobi Sesame Castle, but it's actually a fort.
Oh, okay.
It's located at Abokobi Sesame.
Okay.
It's a popular site that used to host, I think it's one of 19 sites or forts that the Danish used to have in Ghana and used to visit to pick up slaves for their plantations in Denmark.
Okay. So
now, this particular location was restored by the Danish embassy in the early 90s.
Okay.
And handed over to the Ghanaian government. It has a dungeon, it has historical sites, and then the slave homes, sample slave homes that were put up, one for male, one for female. It's a sorry sight to see today. Apparently, I do not know who gave them permission, but it's been converted to a church service premises.
Really?
You should see it. The place is so denigrated that the slave sites that used to house the people have actually broken down. And this is a site that has even the governor from the then times in Denmark. His clothing, his pen, his eating plates, and all those things there. There are samples of diaries that was used as currency in those days. Sorry,
Okay.
all located in this port,
Is
and
it-
it's just allowed anything and everything is going on there.
Sylvester, is it where you go through the Presbyterian Church and you climb up the hill through Sesame?
To Sesame.
Sesame.
It's just about It's
Okay.
about 100 meters up. There's a lorry station at the base.
Okay, I think I know that side. I think I know that. Okay. We'll get the minister to address that one. Thank you very much, Sylvester. We'll pick the last caller for now, and it's Will from Kokomlimle. Will, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Yes, Will.
One thing that most often we don't also talk about is our drivers, especially the taxi drivers. I mean, they are one of the first contacts when tourists visit, right from the airport. You know, there should be some orientation. Once a visitor picks a taxi, there should be basic information that these drivers will give to the tourists. They also charge. Once they identify you as a foreigner or you look like, you can be a Ghanaian, then they feel like, and some of these things affect tourists when they, these are some of the bad things that they take out.
Okay.
Then our restaurants, the hotels charge so much. But one thing I also want to talk about, the minister said about this religious stories, and they keep giving example using the cathedral. They know very well we won't get anything really from the cathedral. That money, if channeled to, develop the tourist site that we have, you know, we will attract than the money going into cathedral. They should abandon it. They shouldn't just because the president is a president's baby project, all of them will just have to fall in and say it's good. No, that money should be channeled to other existing tourist sites, roads, basic things should be there like urinal, you know, and the orientation should be given to drivers, taxi drivers, everybody that we meet, restaurants, and we'll see where our tourism industry will go. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Will from Kokomlimle. So Will is making the point, and Will will be our final caller for now. We'll get Mark Okraku Mantey to address these questions, and then we'll come back and pick more of your questions. So Will is talking about even the drivers. If you once they realize you are a foreigner, they hit you with an amount that you can't. So when you pay, the next time you go with a bad message. And he's talked about even the charges of our hotels, and then he adds the religious tourism to it.
Okay. I think that with let me touch on the taxi one. We again, through the World Bank support, last year into this year, we've been training taxi drivers and Uber drivers, and I share the pain of those who, especially taxi, because with Uber, it's digital, and so the price is what you see on the screen. But with taxi, we all know the G-Man story.
Yeah,
Sometimes they decide to tell you that I didn't know we're coming this far, so I'll charge more.
Exactly.
And then there's confusion, all of that, especially when they notice that you're a foreigner and they want to take advantage of that. And so we are gradually building their capacity to understand that they are the first point of contact when you come into the country. And even domestic tourism, it is important that you treat people well. They are your customers. Your passengers are your customers. And so it's a process. Again, it cannot be an event. We'll continue to do more because somebody can be a driver today. In the next year, he's not. And the new person will become a driver, and you continue to train them. And then Fort at Abokobi.
Yes.
I know the place too. You Nkrumah. I think it's a Presbyterian something around that place.
Around that side, yes.
Yes. So we'll give it attention. We'll go and look at it again.
Yeah.
Okay. Roads, Volta. I think we touched on the roads already. It's a peculiar problem with most of our tourist sites. We will not pretend we do not know.
Yeah.
We will not make it look like it is okay. It is not. And we are pushing, and we'll get the budget to fix them. Somebody touched on how we could get places to sleep, places to eat when they go to a tourist site.
Yes, it talked about the attractions not being developed. It talks about the fact that you can have good eating places, good urinals, and water sports even in these, for instance, where you have waterfalls and all of that.
That's a good point. The first time I got to Papai Park, I asked Mr. Carmoni that if I want to sleep, where do I sleep? He said, oh, he's not considering that now. I said, no, you must.
Yeah.
You must. Because sometimes I want to spend days. Do I go back to Accra and come back every day? You lose revenue.
Yeah.
So even if you don't want to do many, you start with a few rooms. Test like pilots. A few months, you see whether you should do more or you shouldn't at all.
Yeah.
Dukrom Safari, he has rooms.
Sure.
Yes. But I'm sure it's all about the objective of the entrepreneur. Why his vision. Some of them will tell you, I do not want to run a sort of hotel because I do not have the skill to manage it. I do not have the temperament to manage it. And so I'm not ready. Come and go home. Some of the places too, they have the capacity to run hotels. So yes, it is a good point. We can only convince the private sector to look at it more.
Yeah, and talking about hotels, there's a question of
Price.
they being expensive.
Yeah. That particular topic, almost every interview I go, it comes up. Especially when they are comparing to some of the countries they visited around the world.
Yeah.
Yes, it is true, but it's a demand and supply business, and that is why we are trying to create more. We want to be intentional about how we market our tourism to the world. The trick is that at the moment, all the hotels know that our cocoa season is December because you're of return on December in GH. And in February, March, sometimes we are dry. So we wait and then we bill you when you come for December. So if the ministry is able to do more in terms of content or in terms of activities, that will bring people in between January and December. Then they can plan and say, okay, let's reduce our price because between January and December, we are almost every day busy.
But you see, Honorable Okraku Mantey, there are even some hotels outside the capital city that are very expensive.
Yes.
You're talking, and that's the funny part. Over the weekends, that's when they increase the prices.
Demand.
Yes, they say the demand is high, so they increase the prices. Okay, so
I mean, use Kwewu.
Yeah.
You know Kwewu?
Yeah.
When it is the week for Kwewu, the price is different.
Yeah.
And if it's a package, you might even take all. They don't give it to you for days. It's a package. But can you blame the entrepreneur? He's also made some investments, sometimes a bank loan and all of that, and they must go back and pay. So we are just we must just find a midpoint where we can create. Yesterday we had a meeting on that. How do we create more of, instead of just thinking of December in GH, last quarter, how do we make our first quarter busy? Second quarter, what do we put in there? Like next month we're doing Panafest. Definitely it's going to get busy. I am informed that December our rooms for hotels are already full. Already.
Oh.
Yes.
As we speak.
As I speak, yes. So last week I gave the phone number of Chada to one of the director of tourism to engage Chada for rooms for December.
Oh, okay.
Because it's already full.
That's an opportunity.
Correct. And
for
so
people to also start building.
Correct. So again, that's why we are asking people. So those who have the money, that's why I'm communicating some of these concepts to you, so you can take advantage of that. And then when they know that it is no more going to be just December, now first quarter there's something. There's an area that we never talk about whenever I go for these interviews. Most of the time when I go for interviews, David Akwete will tell you his concentration was just tourist site. And I've seen that too today. So just give me about 2 minutes to touch on something. Tourism is actually based on 4 elements. 1 is meeting. 2, incentive. Incentive is your area. Most of the media personalities talk about incentive. That is experience. 3rd, conference.
Yeah.
4th, event.
Sure.
Good. So it is a strategy that you can use to make money for your country.
Exactly.
So the person who spoke about the National Cathedral is often thinking just experience. That's why he said the National Cathedral, we shouldn't waste our time. The National Cathedral alone in your country, almost every religion, almost every Christian sect that would think of having a meeting or a conference in Africa if we have the National Cathedral, Ghana will come first. As I talk to you, a Kanka is a Kanka. They are having a meeting here.
And in your report, I mean, I mentioned this earlier this morning about how, business, your visit, transit, holiday or vacation, conference, study, teaching, official or government affairs, convention, culture, health, and sports.
Good.
Will bring people into Ghana. And I was sharing the figures.
Good.
That, business, for instance, gives us is what about 30% more of business. Yes. So you
see? Yeah. So we must not just consider that we can use experience or tourist sites as addenda. Like recently, the Zambian president was here.
Yeah.
On Saturday, he went to the Kwame Nkrumah Park. That is not his call, but that is addenda or addendum. He had come in Ghana and he wants to visit some of the sites. Bonus. But we can, like Global Citizen.
Yeah.
It brought a lot. People traveled from South Africa, Nigeria, all to just come and witness Global Citizen. December in GH, Afro Nation, Afro Chella, events, conference, Ekanka, religious tourism. I'm happy you mentioned sports. We can be sure of how much All Africa Games will bring to us next year. That's why Qatar will spend a lot of money to host the World Cup. So these are some of the areas I think we should educate Ghanaians on. Because all of them think that tourism is just about visiting sites. No.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Great. So let's see. So we've talked about the high cost of hotels. We've talked about drivers and their charges. We've talked about... Richard's point was having good eating places and all of that at these areas also. We've touched on that also.
Yes.
Let's see if we could just pick 3 more calls. I'm told that time is not our friend. Let me just chip this in and I'll let you wrap up, Honorable Mark Okraku Mantey. So let me introduce to you the newly super delicious and yummy Macberry Twist Cupcake. The Macberry Twist Cupcakes are baked with natural ingredients and come in 2 flavors, vanilla and chocolate. They taste as good as they look, and the best part is they're affordable. Hurry, get a whole pack for your family. Macberry Twist Cupcake is healthy and comes in handy as portable snack for your kids to eat and share with friends at school. Indulge in a deliciously baked and irresistible taste of Macberry Twist Cupcake and enjoy the goodness in every bite. It is available in every supermarket and provision shop near you. Macberry Twist Cupcake, simply irresistible, and this is FDA approved. So, let's look at it. I mean,
but there's some good news.
What's the good news?
I just had a message. Says that GIPC is doing the airport branding. We are currently reviewing the contract with DDP. Hopefully, we'll start in August. We have videos that showcase Ghana across various sectors that will play on 16 screens.
Okay.
Both at arrival, departure, and carousel areas. Yes. So that's
great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Only on Joy, yes.
Yes, only on Joy.
Yes.
That's very important.
It just came in. So you actually ignited that.
Yes. And once you made the point, they've responded.
Yes.
Like you stated, they were listening.
Yeah, they were.
And so they responded.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, let's wrap it up. And for many of us who are listening today, we'll ask the question, going forward, what is going to change? Going forward, what would be, what would change about our strategy when it comes to tourism?
Okay. Going forward, we are working with Ministry of Education. I think that it starts from mindset. And I'm happy you touched on the Dubai one. That somebody sent to you or something.
Message, yeah.
It is in the DNA of the people that everybody knows that they are selling tourism.
Sure.
I've been to Dubai about twice or thrice. One of them, I had to go to the airport at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. And I gave the driver time to pick me up. When I delayed for 10 minutes, not as in delay as in time to get to the airport, but I gave him, say, around 1:30. He noticed it was 1:40 and I was not coming out. I met him on the staircase. So I asked him, where are you going? He said, your time. And because you told me, I thought you were oversleeping. I was coming to wake you up.
Wow.
That shows that he understands that how happy he can make you can bring you back.
Sure.
The next time I went to Dubai, I gave him a phone call. I couldn't reach him. I sent him a message. He was not responding. I went to Dubai, came back. He responded and said, he saw my message. What was up? I said, I was coming back to Dubai. I still wanted to roll with him. He said, he had gone for holidays He's actually Lebanese or something. So he was not in town. He was sorry and all of that. Costa Rica, another person did that. He asked me, what kind of music do you listen to? I still have listened to him. Mauricio. I said, oh, in Ghana, we listen to high life and hip life. The next day when he came back to pick me up, we was playing a match day in the car.
Wow.
Because they are deliberate. They understand that the nation survives on that.
Yeah.
And that is what we want to emulate. We want every element in the ecosystem to understand that it is a new agenda. If you didn't know, there's a new cocoa, there's a new gold, there's a new oil. But every person in Ghana has a role to play, including Winston. And that's why you brought me here this morning.
Yeah.
Everybody has a role to play. And we'll all benefit. The beauty about this is that the money actually goes to private sector.
Exactly.
It doesn't come to government.
Yeah.
So government is only taking money from some place. And then government is investing into tourism for us all to benefit. And so President says that after the Kwame Nkrumah Park next year, it will even start from this year. We are looking at okay, we've done some of the dementia. Okay, we've done that already. We are looking at some new places that we must fix. Okay, amphitheaters. I'm sure you know about that.
Yeah.
They've started. Kumasi is ongoing. Takrady started. Accra started. We are doing 5 of that this year into next year. That is for the tourism, art and culture space. The Creative Arts School is 70% done in Kumasi, Kwadaso. We are supposed to give a facelift to Shai, Mole, Kakum National Parks, Elmina Castle, Cape Coast Castle. We are supposed to build Heroes Park in honor of Big Six. Chebi Heritage Museum, Nagbewa Square in honor of Heroes of the North, amongst others.
All of these are starting this year.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Mark Okraku Mantey, thank you very, very much for joining us, and he's Deputy Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture.